fully grown child on their own at their mama's house. You got any children that can do that? You got any children that can take 17 years old, right here in New York City? You got any 17-year-olds that got their own place to live so that they can take care of a child on their own, so that their parents don't have to bear the burden of their children? So if you don't have that, if you don't have most 17-year-olds in New York City with bank accounts with enough money to take care of children, then guess what you just did when you allow them to have sex? You just put yourself in a position, you, not them, of condoning the government of taking care of 17-year-olds' children. You just made the government liable. Because for the most part, there's no 17-year-olds that can actually take care of a child financially. So guess who's going to be doing it? Your government. Now you see why this law can't be. Now you see why even New York is destroyed. You see why? You're destroyed because you've condoned 17-year-old children having sex, which then makes the government, the overall government, liable financially, because 17-year-old girls and boys in New York City do not have, on the average, enough money to take care of a baby. Or more than one. They may have more than one. So even New York City can't even sit up and do nothing. You can't do nothing. You can't tell me nothing. You can't say nothing. You don't got no honor. You don't got nothing going on, especially in the area of children. You got 17-year-old kids that have no money in the bank account that New York allows to have sex. What you think gonna happen sooner or later? If they're 16, then they start having sex when they're 17. Let's just say they take full advantage of it from January to December. What you think gonna happen all them times they having sex with fully grown adults right here in New York City? Out of all these 17-year-olds, I'm sorry to tell you, a fresh child is probably gonna have a baby. So New York, you can't even stand up to me. You can't even stand up to me. Because you have 17 as the age of consent for sex. That means you are liable. Whatever happens, you're liable. They get an STD, they're going to need medicine. They get HIV medicine, they're going to need HIV medicine. That's more money. These checkups ain't free too. Everything they do and everything that comes out of them having sex is a liability. You got to pay for HIV medicine. You got to pay for STD medicine, and all this other stuff. And if they get in the wrong situation with the wrong adult, now you done put them in a dangerous situation with some old weirdo. So you done put them in harm's way also. Right here in New York. That's all here in New York. You done put them in harm's way. Now you got some weirdo that don't want to let them go. Hey, they gonna look at it like that's a 17-year-old girl. I ain't letting that go. And now she's in trouble because you made the law to allow it to happen in the first place. Keeping it 100. Everybody talking about keeping it a buck, but they not doing it. When you can sit up and see 44 states marrying children and you don't say nothing, you ain't keeping it a buck. You ain't keeping it a buck. You ain't keeping it 100. Okay? And what would trip me out is America is more worried about, you're more worried about somebody killing a child. Wow. See, that's how they shifted. Well. These people killing their children. The people talking about killing children and stuff. Man, nah, we can't have that. But then you can have sex with them, though. I'm showing you right here in New York City. The age of consent, 17. I don't know which one's worse, really. Because it's a type of death when you have sex with children. That's a type of death. And people can justify all you want, but in this society of crazy folks, it's just and wise to have the age of consent at 18 in 50 states. That's just wise because there's too many crazy people. And it's also wise financially because if these children that's 17 have a baby, who's taking care of it? These kids are not even working at 17. They start working at 24. These kids work 7 years later than the age you got for consent for sex. So if you feel the age is agreeable to you, what about the financial situation for 17-year-olds? Any 17-year-olds out here got bread like that? Man, come on, man. They in high school. They don't even gotta work if they don't want to. And most cool parents don't even make them work. They don't make them work. They ain't even think about it till they get about, 20 something, 25? Ain't about time for you to start working? They ain't gonna say that at 17. Most parents are not, which means they ain't got no money. So all New York kids out here to 17 is working right now. With COVID-19 out here. Most parents don't even want their children out there. So what you think their kids doing all day? When they go to work. When they go to work, kids that's out of school, their parents don't make them work. What you think they doing? Going somewhere and having sex. Sneaking somebody in the house and having sex. That's what we all did when we was kids. Everybody did that. Sneaking people in the house, having sex. That's what I did. That's what I did. I even did that. Sneak a girl in the house from school, skip school, come to the house and have sex. Hey, that's what we did. That's what the cool kids did. The proof is in the pudding. That's what us cool kids did. Come, skip school, have sex. In your mom's and dad's houses. That's what y'all are doing, and that's what we did. So you know that's what they doing. You know they doing that. And you are allowing that to be they're not only having sex, you check it, you allow them to be able to upgrade and be with an adult making you liable financially. They sneaking around in the house, get knocked up, and now you liable. Because you condoned it by law. They gonna sneak around and do it. Boom. But you made them able to be with fully grown adults that's able to get them pregnant and therefore making you liable financially. Because the parents ain't got enough to take care of them. Usually, the sorry person that had sex with them ain't got no money. And now it's back on you. So now you taking care of your children's babies because you condoned it in the first place. And then you sit back and complain about it. Complain about how babies is having babies. How are you going to complain about babies having babies when the age of consent is under 18 in 40 states? I don't want to hear none of that no more. Now that I know this, I don't want to hear none of it. Because you sit up and allow 40 states to have the age of consent under 18 and sit up crying about babies having babies. I don't want to hear that from nobody. And here's why you're liable right now. Because you contradicted yourself too much. You sharply contradicted yourself. You, the government, and the community, black, white, all the people going around witch hunting people, talk about a pedophile, doing stuff for people that think people, doing police work. And then we find out that you're the ones that's marrying children in 44 states. Unfortunately, if that person would have been wrong, they would have died, right? So what has to happen to you when you're wrong? Having sex with children in 44 states, the age of consent being under 18 in 40 states. What happens to you? They would have died. They would have been killed, and they would have disappeared, and nobody would have ever heard from them again. So what happens to you? With 44 states marrying children, the age of consent under 18 in 40 states, in the Trump administration, another law was passed where 20 states can marry any age down to single-digit ages of children. What has to happen to America when other people would have died if they were guilty for the same thing? Now you see what I'm saying? If we were guilty for the things that you do, people would be dead. So what's supposed to happen to them? I'm going to start making videos on that. What is supposed to happen to the American government and the American community? All of y'all that's been witch hunting people, what's supposed to happen to the witch hunters that think they're doing stuff for children and the American government? What's supposed to happen to them now that we find out they the ones doing it? Because it's both. It's the American government and obviously the American community. They're the ones the laws are passed for. So while you sitting back talking about, oh, the American government, no. I saved the best for last. Yeah, you the one actually are doing the laws. You are the one that put the laws into activity. They make the laws for you. Yeah, I saved the best for last. Because you the one be playing around people all the time. Doing police work. Police got you out on the wild goose chase. Police got you on the wild goose chase when 44 states is marrying children and the age of consent is under 18 in 40 states. They got you on the wild goose chase and we gonna hold you liable too. Because you should have known the laws before you did this. Yeah, I don't care who it is. Police get locked up all the time. Hey, it's police in jail right now, in prison for wrongdoings. You can't follow everybody just because they say they're the police. What's wrong with you? Police get locked up all the time, and they be sitting up in jail with you like, well, I didn't have to put no gun to your head. You had a choice. We failed. Police sitting up in jail with you talking about we failed. Yeah, it's like that. Because you need to, you just jump on everything just because they say they're the police, and we're holding you liable too. That's right. And me being a prophet, I have the power to authorize your destruction. Look at your country. Look at your country. I have the right to hold you liable just in case you think you can get away. You can't get away from somebody like me. I'll find you. You can leave the country. You can go anywhere in the world, and I will find you. I will find you. You can go anywhere. You can go anywhere. Japan, Australia, because that's what people are going to start doing. When you realize the judgment that's on your head, you're going to try to leave the country. Yeah, you are. You're going to try to leave the country. A lot of y'all are going to start leaving the country. And what you're going to find is that when you leave and you go somewhere else, I'm going to still get you. I'm going to still get you. God's judgment is still going to get you. Yeah. Because you're going to see these cops, they're going to start getting judgment too. They think they're above the law. Just because you serve the law don't mean you above the law. Let me say that again. Because some people, they're just arrogant, they're narcissistic. These arrogant cops, these narcissistic cops, you got to put two and two together. All of them don't even have good mental health. Some of these cops are bipolar, schizophrenic, paranoid, psychosis, psychotic. Yeah. You got a lot of crazy cops. And we're going to start holding you liable, and you're going to start suffering just like everyone else. Yeah, you ain't above the law. Just because you serve it don't mean you are above it. And if you think I'm one of these half-baked, haphazard whistleblowers, you got another thing coming, partner. I'm a spiritual prophet. I'm a prophet. I'm going to take care of you too. That's why I can call the police and talk to them face to face. You know why I can do that? Because I have integrity. I have morals. I have character. I called the police precinct, the Jackson Heights precinct, and told them about the age of consent being under 40 states. The age of consent being under 18 in 40 states. I told the police that. You ain't on my level, man. I'm not playing. I'm telling the people that enforce the laws that the age of consent is under 18 in 40 states. I already done that. I told them I am a spiritual leader. I'm calling you to let you know that the age of consent in your country is under 18 in 40 states. That 12 states allows adults to marry children at any age. Okay? And I told them about the world record being at 7 years old in the state of Delaware in 1880. I told them all of that. If you don't believe me, go call. God be my witness. I've already called and let them know. I already let them know. The police. Yeah. So for people that think it's a game for me, I've already went to the police and let them know. Now that's the big dogs. So in this situation, no matter what people say, I'm doing the work. I'm really doing the work. I'm going to the community, and I've already went to the police and let them know the real laws. It is nothing that anyone can do to slow me down. So now the police know. And you know what that cop said? God bless you. That's what he said. Curse her. Yahweh. So I know you know what I've done, and everything that's being done. I pray that it will come back 100-fold. 100-fold. 100-fold on all these mentally sick, crazy people. Because one thing that you can't do, you can't act crazy and not be crazy. You can't do crazy stuff and not be crazy. So, like I said, the police already know what I'm about. They already know. The police already know what I'm about. because I've had the courage and the integrity, being the truth, to go to the police, call them, and let them know the age of consent is under 18 in 40 states. And 12 states, there's no minimum age for marriage. They don't know. They didn't know. But I called them and let them know. And ain't that spooky to you? That your people, that the people that serve in your community do not even know that the age of consent is under 18. The police don't even know. They have no idea. A lot of them don't. If they did, why are they serving your community? Why aren't they protesting? I wouldn't be serving any country at all that allows 44 states to marry children, and then I go out as a cop and arrest people for basically doing the same thing. They're just not married. They're doing the same thing. They're doing the same thing that cops, that these pedophiles do. That's 44 states is marrying children. Do adults have anything in common with children? So why are they marrying them then? So in Southern terminologies or cliches, we say that's putting the cart before the horse. That's putting the cart before the horse. Because how are you going to arrest this man for being a pedophile when you got 44 states marrying children? How can you arrest someone for being with a child when the age of consent is under 18 in 40 states? How can a cop do that in his right or her right conscience? It's too much of a contradiction. Think about what I'm saying. You arrest somebody for actually having activity with, let's just say, a 12-year-old, 13-year-old, right? You arrest them. They're guilty. But you don't arrest people in 20 states that have no minimum age to marry children. You don't arrest people that are actually in relationships, which is a continuous sexual relationship in 44 states that's marrying them. You don't arrest them, but they're doing the same thing, and even more so, being married to a child. They're married, so they're continuously having sex over and over with the same age of the child that you lock the pedophile up for being with. You see what I'm saying? You see the contradiction? They're only doing it by law. That's what's saving them. It's the same activity. It's the same thing. What's the difference? You got the same ages of children with these laws, with 44 states marrying children, with 20 states allowing no minimum age, meaning they can marry any age of children. And you got 40 states with the age of consent under 18. That's 3 laws doing the same thing that pedophiles do. Boom. Are they not doing the same thing? They're not doing the same thing. They're not. So we can settle it and realize they're doing the same thing that pedophiles do that makes you want to kill the pedophile. The government is doing the same thing. Now, how can you be a cop knowing that? How can you do it? I would pay my bills another way. I'd rather go be security at a bank than be a cop. If you can shoot, if you can carry guns, you go to the military, serve the military. Anything but trying to enforce laws when you have laws that allow adults to be with children. So the law system is too tainted, in other words, for you to enforce the law, in my opinion. Okay, let me break down what I'm saying. You are a law enforcer, right? As a cop, you enforce the laws, right? Okay, so you're bringing people to justice based on sound laws against criminals and unsound people, right? That's what you do. You bring evil to justice. You bring wrong to justice. So we see that someone that has sex with someone that's 13 and they're an adult, that's wrong, right? But it's not wrong when they marry them, though. That's what you're telling me. 44 states marry children. I'm pretty sure 13-year-olds can be married. When they talk about children can be married, in 44 states, that's law. I'm pretty sure 13-year-olds can be in that bracket. But you go and you enforce the law on a pedophile, saying it's wrong here, but it's not wrong when your government does it. It's not wrong when the age of consent is under 18, which means legal adults are having sex with legal children. That's what it means. We don't care what age they are. We care about the fact that they are children. Anybody cares what age a child it is? Anybody saying, well, this is an okay age? Anybody saying that? Anybody saying, well, this age a child can have sex, but not this age? Anybody doing that in America? We all agree that illegal adults should not be having sex with legal children. People that if they went to court, they would be legal children. We all agree, us being sound, the sound people, the sound crew, that in these days and times, right now in 2022, legal adults should not be having sex with legal children. It shouldn't be happening. But yet, this is what you need to listen to, cops. 40 states allows legal adults to be with legal children. So how can you enforce the law when you have that severe of a compromise? How can you do it in your right conscience? How can you lock someone else up? You know the laws, right? How can you lock somebody else up knowing that the government is marrying children in 44 states? That your government sat down and passed laws that allows adults to marry children. It doesn't matter if it's by parents' consent. It's the fact that it's a possibility in our country in 44 states that adults can marry children. The fact that it's a possibility is the liability. I'm going to say that again. The fact that it is a possibility is the fact that it's a liability, a very severe liability, a fatal liability, actually. So, like I told you guys, I've called the police. I've called them and talked to them. I talked to a man, an officer, and I told him the laws that I'm telling you, God be my witness. This is the truth. I'm about this life. I've crossed over. And I did that months ago. So see, I already upgraded. I've already passed over another level of calling the police, not to call the police on somebody, but calling the right police to inform them of the laws of the American government. I've already elevated to a spiritual leader by doing that. You're not doing that. You not calling the police, telling them about the age of consent being under 18 in 40 states. You're not doing that work. You're not calling the cops and doing that. Telling them that 12 states at the time, I thought it was only 12 states. It's actually 20 states, but I told them 12 states because I seen a 12 state law, but I found out recently in the past couple of weeks, it's actually 20 states. But I told them at the time, 12 states allows the age of consent to be under 12 states allows no minimum age to marry children. That means they can marry any age. I told the cop that. And you know what he told me? You know what the cop said after that? Thank you. He said, thank you, sir. God bless you. He said, God bless you. Yeah. So see, that's the difference between me and other individuals. God knows this is the truth. I don't have no reason to make this up. In fact, pretty sure you can call the Jackson precinct in Queens, New York, and find out that that's what I've done. I called about March, late February, early March. Yeah. So I've already crossed over to the highest levels to be really doing this work. Just in case you think I'm playing, or just in case you think you playing with me. And once someone crossed over to talking to the cops and they took out the time to do that, you don't want to play with a person like that. Because then see,